Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm freezing and I hate it, but there's work to be done. Thanks everybody for joining me yet again this week. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. If you're into the whole car racing, engineering, fabricating, mechanics type of deal, especially on a DIY level, that's what we do here. And I'm not afraid to fail in front of 1,000 people who subscribe to me, or even more than that, to be fair, because, oh boy, I've done that before. Anyway, you can tell by my breath coming out of my face that it is cold. I do have the heater going, like I'd mentioned. I just got out here from work, and it is the busy season at work, so that means things are kind of put on the back burner for the garage. We're going to continue on the body work, and that's not quite done yet, but clearly we can't really do anything like paint-wise. It's way too cold, clearly. It would just be terrible. And the whole body's not even fitted yet, so we got to figure something out there. We got to get the bumper welded on, but first, I want to do something mechanically because the car needs to be put together completely in order for it to kind of go on the ground and we can get an idea of what the body heights are so that we can finalize all the stuff that's going to be down more towards the ground. Why do we have to put mechanical stuff into the car? Well, because I'm sick of seeing the engine held in by a chain. That's not so great, especially that bolt that's right there in the middle that I don't know how it's holding in there for that long. But we'll take a bunch of stress out of it by actually putting it in, I don't know, the proper way, because I have the clutch, I have the pressure plate, I have the bell housing, I have the flywheel, I have transmissions up to you know what. I got plenty of stuff to put back in the car. That way, with all of the stuff that's back attached in the car, hey, it's going to weigh close approximation to what the curb weight should be. And we haven't changed a heck of a lot. I know some stuff, it's a new car, so some stuff is kind of sagged out. But we can at least get it on the ground with maybe some tire pressure. I mean, I got to size some tires, make sure they're at least close to what I'm going to run. And see what the fender heights, like the radiuses, are going to be. And the nose height, for legality's sake. And rocker height. Make sure we're not too low on stuff. Pretty sure I should have brought a jacket out here. I was relying too much on my heater. That was a bad plan. Maybe I'll go get one and come back out and go lay on a freezing cold concrete floor in order to put transmission, clutch, linkages, all sorts of everything back in the car. Wonderful. No wonder nothing gets done in the wintertime up in New England, and we are always spending the last 3 weeks of the off season thrashing on getting our cars ready. It's because it's cold and it sucks. If this was actually attached to my house, then it probably wouldn't be so cold in here, but it's not. And there's no insulation anywhere in this garage. Therefore, I'm in an ice cube at any time, except for the summer when it becomes an oven, which is fantastic. So I'm going to just maybe wait a few minutes for this place to warm up, and then I'll get down underneath the car. We'll figure out which transmission to put in, which I already got an idea. They're all built. There's 3 of them here. We'll just take the nicest looking one, stuff that in. By the way, I got some new clutch stuff. This is the old one I pulled out. It's still good. It's just it's old. That's all. I'm going to keep it for a spare. I got the new one sitting over here. Look, it's shiny. Kind of weird that it's pink, but I don't know. I guess that's just the brand. We're going to put that in. The new clutch disc is in there. The flywheel that's been cut. I figured if we got a cut flywheel, we might as well put a fresh everything else in there, and maybe we'll have some dependability if we have all new parts, and couldn't hurt, right? So all this is going to go into the car. So I got a transmission out. I had to go find all the parts. I got a bunch of stuff laid out on that. I cleaned up the bell housing. I got the clutch sitting here ready to go. But I should have been to time lapse already and putting stuff together, but I've had to find parts. I couldn't find the little clutch alignment bolt, the throwout bearing one, where it just kind of rides on it. See, it has this little pin that you would bolt into the transmission, and it kind of aligns it. That's how this kind works. There's different kinds, of course, but I need this bolt, but guess what? It's broken off, so it's not long enough. So I had to come over to my workbench, which is a complete pile of mess. I found a grade 8 bolt that's the right size, diameter, and etc. I think it might be a little long, but that's okay. Actually, I think the shank is a little bit short now that I think about it, but the thread is enough. So actually, you know, it's pretty close. So I made that. That should work. And we'll put that in the transmission wherever that's supposed to go. And we can finally get to work on this. Well, I got the clutch, flywheel, pressure plate, bell housing on, and then promptly ran out of time because all I did was try to go and look for parts that I couldn't find because I didn't remember where I put them because I'm a disorganized mess. And it's league night, so I got to get in and do that. But it went together pretty smoothly. I just got to get the bottom bolts on the bell housing in, but they're, for some reason, I got to use like a smaller diameter head. Like I use a header bolt on the bottom too for my bell housing. Tomorrow, hopefully, we'll be able to get under there, get the transmission in, put it on the cross member, get the shifters all hooked up, and then I can finally release the jack that's been tripping me that I have holding up the engine under the oil pan, which was interesting because I looked under there and figured out that there's no oil filter on the engine, which is kind of strange. Figured when he ran it, he would have just left it on there, but nope. Either way, I also hope that my hold down is still here. I don't remember taking that off, and now I don't remember if I have it or not. Either way, I'm going to go enjoy the warmth of my home while I race virtual cars on a computer. I might be streaming another race upcoming pretty soon. I think we're going to be doing our own little snowball derby thing coming because that's coming up pretty soon down there in Florida. And we typically try to mirror stuff. So if you're interested in seeing that, let me know. This might come out before then. It might not, but I might stream that if we get enough people and some interest. But like I said, the iRacing thing isn't a normal thing I'm going to do. It's just some kind of fun screw around thing. But I'm going to go get warmed up. See you tomorrow. Next day, got a few hours I can work out here. I'm going to try to get the rest of the driveline buttoned up. Maybe even get it on the ground and start kind of eyeballing where we think the radiuses should at least be cut. I do have to kind of preemptively cut the right rear because it's way too close. That's okay. I don't want it to be just sitting on that thing, sitting on the ground. We'll get that thing lowered and at least looked at. But first, we got to get everything put back together. I need the rear end U-joint cap. No. I need the straps for the U-joint in the back where the rear end is. I got to get the drive shaft out. I think it's right here. And I got to get the transmission in, get the shifter all bolted up and everything. I don't think I'm going to bother putting the exhaust on yet because I do need to weld one of the hangers, but that's kind of the agenda for right now. if you caught that one in the time lapse. Ah, my teeth feel crunchy now. Transmission mount slipped out of my hands. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. That's why you wear safety glasses, kids. Hey, look, I was smart for once. I wore my safety glasses and I didn't catch it in the eyes. I'll take that any day. So that royally pissed me off. And I don't feel like getting under the car right now. So I'm going to go dress my wounds. Oh, man. Yeah. Hopefully I didn't hurt my teeth. Maybe I'll give it a try again tomorrow with a helmet on or something. I can't stay away. I can't let some stupid little thing like some giant piece of metal angle iron smashing me in my face stop me from doing what I want to do. If I stop now, I won't have a video. Anyway, Mama didn't raise no bitch. Now check out my Pokemon Band-Aid. It's a Charmander. I think I'll probably grab a rag and clean up the blood trail. That's gross. Looks like we're gonna have to do a little bit of fabrication work. I think the snout on the Ford 9-inch just kicked over to the, well, this would be the left of the car, I suppose. And this bolt for this drive shaft hoop, which is kind of, you can disconnect it if you want, is now touching the drive shaft. You can see it's just taking the paint off. That's weird, it's only taking it off in a very specific spot. Oh, now it's taking it off everywhere. Okay, forget what I said. So this bolt needs to come out. We're going to have to do a little bit more fabrication. I might just take the bolts out and just kind of cut it down to the lowest point and spread it out and just weld it to here, because I can get the drive shaft in and out. Not a big issue. I just need that clearance that, well, I measured it off of 7.5-inch rear when we put the 9-inch in. So now, I don't know, I guess there's some kind of fitment issue, and I didn't think there would be, so I guess there's another thing to add to the list. All right, well, I got the whole drive line put back in, drive shafts in, like you saw, transmissions in, clutches set and adjusted. I had to put a couple spacers in, which means I had to take it in and out, 3 or 4 times. And by hand, that sucks. So, yeah, should probably invest in a transmission jack in the future. But either way, this thing can go on the ground and we can start working on radiuses and lower heights and such like that. So, but I think I'm going to have to call it because it's really late tonight and my face hurts. Not so much, you know the joke. Anyway, I got to go inside and rest. I don't know if my nose is broken or not. It hurts a lot, but I'm not really seeing any blood, so I'm kind of doubting it. It might just hurt a lot, so I'll try to come back out tomorrow. Hopefully it won't be so bad and me dropping stuff on my face. Luckily my safety glasses, which are a little bit stained over here, you can see it on the bridge of my nose here, they're a little bit stained. Saved my eye and saved everything else, but it is what it is. So I'll have to see it tomorrow. Yeah, I'm pretty bruised up. Really sore. Face hurts, teeth hurt, nose hurts after yesterday. That was painful. Still painful. Don't think I broke my nose. Nah, we just bruised her up pretty good on the right side. Teeth, these two right here, we shined a flashlight on them. They didn't have any damage. They weren't, I think I had a scuff on the enamel on one of them, but it was holding in there. Those are really sore, and I don't know, the wound is a wound. What are you gonna do? So otherwise, I got to button up a couple things I forgot to do last night underneath the car, and then once we get that done, I think we're going to try at least, well, we got to trim this back one right here. But I want to see if we can get the car on the ground. I got to clean out a little bit underneath it, but I want the car on the ground so that we can at least, you know, get a good look-see at what we're going to do for the radiuses. Radiuses and the fender height, well, door height. And, well, you know, we do have to look at fender height too. So I'm going to check that out. We're going to start measuring for like the nose strip, which is, it's around somewhere. I don't know where I put it. I saw it yesterday. We'll find it. Oh, I do see it. Oh, we're good. So we'll figure that out and we'll get that tidied up. I'll go live once I start. You don't need to watch me button stuff up. I'll get it done and then we'll get it on the ground. All right, we are ready to go on the ground. Let's get this thing up a hair. That way I can pull the locks. You know, it's kind of funny. I was thinking about it the other day while I was in here freezing. And I remember working on these things with my dad in his garage when he and my brother owned a car together and they would race at Thompson and stuff. But they would have the car in the air like this, but they'd have one of them turbo heaters, you know, the either propane or kerosene. It was probably kerosene. But my dad would face it directly under the car. And I'd always ask him, why do you do that? Because he was an engineer. And he said, well, what's the race car made out of? Well, metal, clearly. That's touching now. Let's back that back up. And he's like, of course. You could take the heater and fire it under the car, and the heat is going to spread out over everything because it's metal. And what's that going to do? It creates its own heat sink. And how does that warm the shop? It warms it evenly. And then when you shut the heat off, the race car stays warm and it still becomes a heat source. And I'm like, that's pretty great. Do I do that? No. But he was a lot smarter than I was. So, you know, I suffer. All right, I think what we're going to do here is just use a pair of tin snips to just kind of fall over. But just kind of run around here real quick so that we can at least put the car on the ground all the way. Now, when you're using tin snips, you got to pay attention to them sometimes because you can tell these two, they're definitely a different design. And there's a reason for that. These are basically universal. They're straight. You can see both anvils or both cutting surfaces or whatever you call these are straight. You can go either direction. It's not a big deal. But they don't do, it's like a jack of all trades cutter. It doesn't do it the best. If you want to turn corners, you get one that's offset like this. Now this one's actually a right-handed one. It'll only go straight or right. If you try to go left with it, nope. Best of luck. But if you're going to do corners, these actually work way better. You can do it with those, but these really help you out just because of how they're designed. Obviously, if you're going to get a right, you might as well get a left too to go with your straight. But I only have the straight and the right one. So it's kind of where we're at right now. I'll have to go to the flea market and buy another one of these. You can find really nice tools at your local flea market. There's a guy there who just buys them in bulk from estates, sells it off for nothing. This is a Stanley tin snip. It is mint. I think I paid like $3 for it. Anyway, I'm going to get to cutting this out. Hopefully we can start radiusing. so bad. I think we did pretty good on that one. It was a little bit rednecky with the pin with the rope tied to it, and I just held it in place and tried to draw an arc. This is not the final product, by the way. This is basically a little low compared to what I really usually do. But you figure we're going to lose about another ½ an inch when we go to roll it. And I'll show you that, because rolling fenders is really what you should be doing if you drive something with a steel body like this. Because if you leave your stuff jagged like this, you're not only going to cut your competitors' tires, which is really kind of a jerk thing to do. Tires are expensive. You run the risk of cutting your own. Because say this fender's flared out and it's not touching the inside of it or anything. What if you get in an accident and wrinkles in, and then you bump going into the corner and this jagged edge just carves your tire to shreds? I roll my fenders so I got at least this much metal that's curved. I've run on the tire and hit those things constantly. I've never cut a tire when I rolled it, and I never cut anybody else's either. So it's a courtesy and it's a safety measure for yourself. Here's the tools you're going to need for radiusing your fenders, unless you can do it in a far easier manner than I do. You're going to need these, a block of wood or something to put on the back or the front. I think I put it here. Body hammer. I used to use a ball peen hammer for 20 years. Then I found this in my work truck, and it's a snap-on, and maintenance didn't get that one back. Anyway, what you do to roll your fenders: I just grab a pair of pliers, because you got a very small amount of area you're going to be able to go. I just kind of start, find a good spot, and just start making small movements like this. On the pliers, I try to keep it at the same spot every time as well, so that I have at least a uniform radius when I go to put it on here. Now what you're going to do is just kind of get a flanged edge going first. And you got to do it in steps, or else it's really not going to work. So you get your flanged edge, then you go and you keep going. You just go as far as you can and get about as much bite as you can in the same spot every time, and just roll it over past 90 degrees. All right. Now once you get her past 90 degrees, and I'm going to get a little bit of an edge here just because. All right. It's going to pull back out in some spots, you're going to notice, especially in the tighter areas. But once you get there, all the way around, it's time to smooth it out. Take your dolly, whatever kind of dolly you got, put your headphones on, take your hammer, and start working it around and then flat. You don't want to flatten it out too much because you'll start dinging the fender, but something like this. I apologize to headphone users. Smooth rolled edge. And if you need to, you can always work it like this and bend it back into shape. See? But it's also a stronger edge on your body to help it from caving in as well. It strengthens up the side panel quite a bit. Let me get you in here so you can see the actual results of this, because I really want people to do this on their cars. Here's your cut edge. Here's your angle. Here's your rolled edge. You'll notice that it's rolled. There's a little bit of an edge to it like that. It's not sharp, it's just rounded. You look on the back side and it's a little dark, but you can see that the edge is completely folded over and hammered down so that anything gets their hands on it or their tires in it or whatever, you're not going to hook it or cut anything. Like I said, the benefit is not only the fact that you're a courteous person to your fellow competitors, but also to yourself. And yourself when you're walking around the garage, because I can't even tell you how many times I've cut my pant legs open on catching edges like this. There you go. Obviously this thing's going to be about here when I get done with it, so it's not going to look so bad. But watch this. No problem. Nice and smooth. But if, like I said, if you're a racer with a steel body car, take this to heart. It'll save you a lot of trouble, and it'll save your competitors a lot of trouble too. And I know a lot of you guys probably act like racing is warfare and, you know, oh, well, I'm out there to win, not make friends. Well, it's like, well, yeah, but you're not out there to make enemies either. And if you can go out there and put on a great show for the fans, maybe you'll pick up sponsors. Maybe you'll pick up fans. Maybe you'll pick up friends. Maybe you'll make connections. It's like I always tell my son, if you always do right, you never go wrong. And that's kind of my philosophy in racing, you know. I try to race people how I'm raced. If you see me out there racing rough, that's probably because somebody else raced me rough. And I have no qualms against taking the gloves off. But I'd really rather try to do it the right way first. Rolling my fenders and stuff, that's the right way. Not leaving sharp edges or bolts on my car, sharp cut rivets or washers, that's the right way. I'm going to have to keep rinsing and repeating on all these, and my shoulders are absolutely killing me. I don't have enough time to do radius fenders tonight, but I do have some time to do some other stuff. I'm going to go get a drink, and we'll figure that out. Relax, it's blueberry lemonade. Anyway, I should really start thinking about what we should do with this rear bumper, because it's on the ground. I can reach into it easier. I could probably clean this trunk lid off so that I can actually, you know, pull it up and look in there. We should get a measurement across the back. I'll probably make it a little wider so that this side bulges out a little bit. Pull it out of the rafters right there. Maybe we'll cut her and put it on the ground and sleeve it and weld her up and see if it fits between the lines. Okay guys, unfortunately I don't have a heck of a lot of time to be working out here again today, which really stinks. I've been so busy at work. I get home and I have, like, after, I don't know, grabbing a bite to eat and doing whatever I do, like just relaxing for 1 minute, I literally only have 2 hours out here. That's not a heck of a lot. What I've shown you on camera, besides cleaning, is all the time I really have. So let's take a look here. And right past the radius to the flat edge. How long is this measuring tape? You know, you can actually figure out how long these are. They'll tell you. Wow, this one doesn't tell me. Pause for one moment. Instead of trying to, like, put it in the corner and try to bend the tape and see what it is, I'm just going to go use one of these tape measures. It's a 12-foot Stanley. You've probably seen it on the channel if you have watched long enough. I like these 12-foot chrome Stanley power locks for one reason. The body is 2 inches exactly. I use these for ride height. I just kind of put it up like that, and then I can just pull it out and be like, okay, that's 5 3/4, that's 7 3/4. Easy math. I said I didn't have any time left, and I'm just sitting here talking. So I'm going to put this in the edge by the radius. I guess I got to reach past there. Like that. And so we'll mark that as our edge to edge, I think. Maybe we'll go right there. Okay. What's this number say? 60 3/4. So it'd be 62 3/4. Let's just make it 63. Couldn't hurt us, right? Okay, here's the late model bumper. Yeah, that actually goes a little further up than I thought. Not far enough, but whatever. All right, so you can see it actually hangs over the edge like this. Yeah, that's not what we want. How far end to end are we? We needed 63. Should have grabbed the old Fat Max for this one so that the tape doesn't bend constantly. Or I could just do it the right way. There we go. This is 67. Dang. All right, so that means I got to take 4 inches out of this thing. That's all right. What we're going to do is we'll measure 4 inches right dead nuts in the middle of it. That would be 32 and a half, I think. We'll mark it at 32 and a half. Take 2 inches on one side, 2 inches on the other side. Drill a couple holes, slide a piece of 1.5 inches in it, weld it up, throw it in. Unfortunately, guys, I think the bruise on my face is getting bigger. So I think I'm going to just go in and relax. I don't really even have enough time to do that because I got to go to sleep because I got to be up at 6 a.m. for work tomorrow again. And it's the busy season and it's taking up all my time, but I know that in advance. I've done it for 16 years, so it's not like it's a huge deal, but I'll get back to this, man, hopefully tomorrow. But I know there's not a lot in this video, and I really do apologize. I am sorry, guys. I'll definitely make it up to you next year when we're racing full time, trust me. But, you know, at least I'm offering some useful info. There might not be a lot of it here, but at least it's somewhat useful. More coming soon, but that'll be tomorrow. I gave up. I wanted it to be warm. I think that'll do it. All right, I'm gonna let this thing cool off. You know what I forgot about completely? Long-time viewers of the channel will remember. It's hiding. The ironing board. I showed people that you could take an ironing board, pull the cover off of it, and it's just a wire mesh table. It's perfect for welding, especially when you're tall like me. Why didn't I do that? I forgot about it. Anyway, this was already here. I'm gonna let this thing cool off, and then I'm gonna get to trimming the little bumper part of the flange out down the bottom there. Right there. And then I think I'm gonna put some rivets in this piece down through here and attach it to the plastic bumper part so that if we need to take this rear bumper cover off in order to weld on the bumper, which I think we're gonna have to do, but right now it's good for fitting. I'm gonna have, actually, you know what? I should do that when I take it off. So we'll rivet it and then we'll cut it when I take it off and make life 10 times easier. But we gotta get the bumper fitted, and I got some ideas for how to mount it to the chassis this time instead of just making some bumper brackets that were really angled upwards. I was getting a little bit ambitious and thinking maybe we could do some other thing that might be a little bit nicer or more complicated, I guess, than that. Well, much to my surprise, we had enough gas to put this thing together. So that's pretty cool. I tried to move her over to the right as much as I could. Doesn't look like I really did, but that's what we make body braces for. I don't even know how much gas I got left in this thing. Oh, that's not good. Still above the line, but not by much. This tank is pretty much done. I got to go trade that bad boy in, but I'm in the cool down phase right now. Clearly, we'll paint it at some point. Today's probably not that day. Yeah, it's still hot. I can touch it, but it's not comfortable. Made it a little bit wider than I originally measured. I said, you know what? This is why I put this little bar in here. Not only to strengthen the middle up, to keep from bowing in, but to make sure that I get the length I want out of this. These bars came pre-bent for the ABC bumpers. You can see they kind of go like this. I just kind of pushed the middle in to try to get the edges out. So whatever. It's all in just how you make it. I was going to be fancy and put these flat and then put a bar that bent up to here. But I'm like, it's a bumper, dude. Yeah, I'll be lucky if I still have it at the end of the year. We'll see, because traffic is something else. But I'll let this cool off a hair, and then we'll get to fastening the rear bumper cover back on. And this time, we'll probably fasten it on for good. See, I told you to pull out a little bit through here. It's not so bad. Body lines are very, very close. It's almost like it was made for it. Clearly it wasn't, but I mean, we still could fudge it just as well as anybody else, right? So the body is fully assembled besides the hood. The hood's kind of in an ice puddle in the back of the truck, which isn't great. I don't know how many years it's spent outside, so I'm kind of concerned a little bit about its structural integrity. But we got the back bumper on and in. Check it out. Oh, where is it? Ouch, there it is. And I even made it tight to here. Watch. Ow. All right, that's pretty good. I even kind of went through the back here and I put extra rivets on the overlap section just where the bumper is, because I figured there's going to be a lot of contact there. Like I said, being in traffic, everybody hits each other. So I'm making sure that it doesn't like pop and separate in this area particularly. So I figured a couple small head rivets might help. Now we're going to have to wait because I don't have any welding gas left. And I don't have any parts for what I've got to work on, like the hood. It's not inside and it's not dried off, which stinks because it snowed on us. So I got to get that inside over the weekend and make sure it's in where the dehumidifier is, even though it's not really that warm in here unless I'm working in here, and at least try to dry it out before we work on it. We're going to have to do some fiberglass repair, and that's not going to be fun. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it out here tomorrow. I mean, we could spend the rest of the night radiusing our wheel arches, but we got a lot of time to do that. And my kid's asking me to play video games, so how often are you going to get that kind of a question, I guess, right? And before your kids find you uncool and don't want to hang out with you anymore. So I figured I'll go take advantage of that while I got the chance. Maybe I'll be back tomorrow. If not, I'll wrap her up for you, and we'll see you again next week. But we'll see if I come back tomorrow. Oh, that's gone pretty wrong. I was just cleaning up. So I did make it out here. I think what we're going to do is I've made some sort of device that might help me with radiusing fenders. Take a look at this ridiculousness. Okay, I have made this. It is literally a piece of, well, heavy gauge wire or very thin rod, hose clamped to a jack stand facing straight out. What I'm going to accomplish with this is put this right into the middle of the hubs. There's a hole in the back, there's a hole in the front spindle where you got to take the dust cap off, which kind of stinks, but it'll go whoop, right into the middle of that. Then I've got this, a string on a nut, which to do this one-handed is impossible. What is this, some kind of trick shot contest? Get on there. Don't have all day. Anyway, then I'm gonna roll up a marker into this and use this as a way to mark my radiuses. Just nice and gentle. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I'll stand back and take a look at it just to see if it looks cool, which is pretty much what I did with this, but I didn't do it the exact same way. Pardon the background noise, I'm watching the Snowflake 100. But I'm gonna try to replicate it on all four. I gotta get it back on the ground though in order for us to do that. I wish I could say that went better. That technique didn't really seem to help me a heck of a lot. I thought that would actually work because you figure a tire is a circle, right? So if you're going to get a very equal radius, the hub is like the direct middle of the tire. And then you start tracing a line and it's like, this looks dumb. So I ended up freehanding a lot of it. And then I thought that the machine would work, but it's too low to the ground and I'd have to lift it up, and I'm like, nah, I want to see what it looks like. Now this side, the left, is actually a lot higher than the right. Like I said, we have either the wrong size tires on it or something sagged out, or we don't have all the weight in it. Whatever the case may be, the ride heights aren't correct because they're way off. They're like a few inches high over here and a few inches low over there. Like I said, something happened. Either way, really hoping for better results, but I'm not going to roll these fenders yet. I want to actually get it set to the proper ride height, which I have written down, and then we can finalize cutting these. Once they're set in place, then I'll hammer them. Right rear should be fine, though, even though I hammered that one for demonstration purposes. And if that one's not good enough, we can cut it and do it again. It's not a huge deal, but it would stink to do it twice. As for me, I think I'm done being cold this week. I've been outside in the cold all day for work, spend a lot of time there. It's the busy season, then I come home and I'm outside in the cold some more, and it's like, oh God, I'm exhausted. But we got a lot done this video. Showed you how to do rolling fenders, we got the rest of the body fitted, we even got the rear bumper put on. We got the driveline installed so that the car could actually go on the ground and we could have some semblance of idea of what the weight's gonna look like in the car, and we'll get adequate radiuses for the fenders. You know what we tried to do here. But as for this guy, I think I'm done, man. We got plenty of stuff coming up. I don't have enough welding gas. We got to get the fiberglass fixed. I got to really heat the garage up for that one, but that's not a big deal. But thank you all for watching. I greatly appreciate every one of you and all your patience over these last few videos. I'm trying to make them as informative as humanly possible, even though, man, I've been busy, and I really have been trying my hardest to stay out here and give you guys some kind of content, even if they aren't perfect or mind-blowing or anything. It's at least something, right? And I appreciate everybody hanging in there with me. I know, again, this is the slow season as well. I'm kind of trying to get this done because I got something else lined up that I'd really love to work on if there's time. And if this car is race ready, maybe I will have time. That would be great. And I keep dangling that carrot in front of you guys, and it's just not fair for me to even leave it out there in the ether and then never work on it. So I think it would be a really fun project. I really want to get it in here. That's why we're trying to get this thing done before we really have to worry about it. So if you know anybody who'd be interested in mechanicery and engineering and fabrication and failure and really boring life of a person who DIY owns a race car, send them my way. And I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you all again for watching. Till next time.